What's going on, brother? Welcome. This is not just another feel-good channel. This is a place where you face your demons, build your strength, and finally stop running from yourself. If you're here, it's because something inside you is done being average. You're sick of watching your own life from the sidelines. So don't just listen. Subscribe now. Hit that bell. Because each video here is a brick in the fortress of your mental strength. And if you stay till the end, you'll get a phrase, one sentence, that you'll repeat every morning and every night. A phrase that'll rewire your brain and harden your will. Let's begin. Most people are prisoners, not of war, not of circumstance, of their own minds. And no one's going to rescue you from that prison, except you. You want to talk about mental strength? Let's talk about the war in your head. You think you're broken because life hit you? Join the damn club. Bad things happen to you? They happen to all of us. What matters is what you do with it now. He remembers the moment his father walked out. Cold air in the kitchen. A slammed door. That was the day a boy became a man. Not because he wanted to, but because no one else would do it for him. That's reality for most men. You're thrown into the fire, and no one tells you how to survive. You figure it out, or you burn. And that's the thing. Most guys, they're burning. Quietly. They're living quiet lives of mental defeat. They wake up, go to jobs they hate, look in the mirror and see a stranger. Why? Because they never trained their mind. They built bodies, built bank accounts, but their minds? Weak, soft, unprepared. Let me tell you what mental strength is not. It's not pretending nothing hurts. It's not posting quotes about grinding. It's this. Getting punched in the soul and standing the hell up anyway. Looking in the mirror and owning the man you see. Scars and all. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. That was Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire and still battled himself. You think this life is going to hand you confidence? You think it's going to give you clarity, power, peace? No, you earn that through facing your darkness. Look, maybe you were the kid who never fit in. Maybe your father told you you'd never be enough. Maybe your ex broke you and walked away like it meant nothing. You carry that, don't you? In your shoulders, in your silence. You drink to bury it. You laugh to hide it. But it's there. And here's the truth. That pain, that's your raw material. That's the steel your strength is forged from. Stop wishing it away. Start building with it. There's a man who wakes up every day at 4 a.m. Rain, snow, sick, broken, doesn't matter. He runs. He reads. He grinds, not because it's fun, but because he made a decision. I will not be soft. I will not be a slave to comfort. And that's what separates men who rise from those who rot. They choose the hard road. Every damn day. David Goggins said it best. The most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you'll have with yourself. And let me tell you, that voice in your head, it's a liar. It tells you you're tired when you've got more in you. It tells you you're done when you barely started. Mental strength is teaching that voice who's boss. It's not about feeling like doing the work. It's about doing it, regardless. Too many of you wait to feel ready. You won't, ever. That's not how real change works. You act your way into feeling, not the other way around. You think the legends you admire waited to feel like kings? Hell no. They got up when it sucked. They trained when no one clapped. They gave everything, in silence. That's what made them giants. You want to be mentally strong? You gotta suffer intentionally. You gotta walk into discomfort like it's home. You gotta stop negotiating with weakness. No more, I'll start tomorrow. No more, I'm just not motivated. No more, I had a rough childhood. So did a lot of men. So what? Jocko Willink said, discipline equals freedom. Let that sink in. When your mind is trained, your emotions don't run your life. When your discipline is stronger than your excuses, nothing can hold you. You become unshakable, untouchable. But it starts with a decision. Right here, right now. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision. To stop being a victim of your own mind. To stop blaming your past. To stop shrinking because life is hard. Newsflash, life is hard. It's supposed to be hard as the gym for your soul. Pain is the weight that makes your character stronger. You think you're supposed to be happy all the time? That's a trap. Chasing happiness will leave you empty. Chase strength instead. Chase truth. Chase the man you were born to be. The one who's buried under layers of lies, laziness, and fear. Strip that junk off. One rep at a time. One cold shower. One early morning. One promise kept to yourself. That's how you build the mind of a warrior. You still with me? Good. Because this is just the beginning. He wakes up before the sun, not because he wants to, but because his mission won't wait. His feet hit the floor like a soldier reporting for duty, because that's exactly what he is. A man at war with everything soft inside him. Discipline is not a habit. It's a creed, and he lives by it. No applause, no spectators. Just a silent contract between who he is and who he refuses to remain. Most men are chasing comfort like it's a prize. He's running from it like it's a disease. Because it is. Comfort is where potential dies, where warriors rot, where kings go to sleep and never wake up. So he rejects it daily. He trains his body not to look good, but to hurt better. He runs not to feel free, but to master his inner voice. He eats like a soldier, not a child. He sleeps when the job is done, not when he's tired. Why? Because he knows the truth. Discipline is the edge. It's what separates those who dream from those who dominate. It's what builds legacy while others binge on weakness. You want to know the difference between the man who changes the world and the man who complains about it? One does what must be done. The other waits to feel like it. Feelings are irrelevant. Desire is temporary. Will is eternal. He doesn't care if it's raining. Doesn't matter if his back hurts. He's not in the mood? Perfect. Now the work counts more. Because real discipline isn't visible. It's the voice that says no when everything inside you screams yes. It's skipping the party to write your legacy in the dark. It's pushing the last rep when your muscles beg for mercy. This man, the man who is building himself from the ruins, he understands that self-control is power. That every moment of weakness is a test. That the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. And proof is earned in silence. There's a reason why monks train their minds in the cold. Why warriors fast in deserts. Why great men vanish before they rise. Because growth is private. It's sacred. And discipline is the altar. He doesn't broadcast his sacrifices. He doesn't seek validation. He is too busy becoming the man no one believed he could be. And here's the part no one tells you. Discipline will cost you everything. Friends, parties, comfort, even love, sometimes, but it will buy you something greater. Self-respect. And that is the foundation of every kingdom. See, most men are surrounded by distraction. Every notification is an invitation to mediocrity. Every comfort is a seduction away from purpose. He shuts it all down. He silences the world so he can hear his own voice. The voice of the man he's becoming. That voice is fierce. It doesn't beg. It commands. Because inside every disciplined man, there's a force that says, you will not break. Not today. Not ever. He doesn't argue with laziness. He kills it. He doesn't negotiate with doubt. He chokes it out with action. Every morning, his calendar is a battlefield. He sees tasks, not feelings. He executes, whether he wants to or not. And over time, something happens. He starts to win, not just in the world, in himself. His mind sharpens. His confidence hardens. He walks differently. Because discipline carves a man's identity. Not what he says, what he does when no one is watching. You want to be a lion? You train like one. You sacrifice like one. You lead like one. Lions don't explain. They don't apologize for their hunger. Neither does he. When weakness comes, he greets it like an old rival. I know you. I've killed you before. I'll do it again. He no longer fears hardship. He welcomes it, because every trial is a tool. Every discomfort is a brick, and he's building a fortress, not for show, for war, for legacy. He knows that one day, someone will ask, how did you become that man? And he'll smile, not because of pride, but because he remembers the pain, the grind, the thousands of unseen moments where he chose the hard path. That's what made him. Not talent, not genetics, not luck. Discipline, relentless, unforgiving, sacred. You want to be free? Master yourself. Rule your impulses. Own your time. Cut the noise. Kill the excuses. That's the formula. Simple, but never easy. And that's why so few do it. Because it costs. Because it hurts. Because it demands a death of the boy, of the coward, of the quitter inside. But what rises from that death is unstoppable. A man who doesn't chase purpose. He walks in it, not because the world made it easy, but because he made himself unbreakable. That's discipline, and that's what makes a man. There comes a moment in every man's life when silence speaks louder than the noise of the world. And in that silence, he must face not his enemies, not his critics, not his father's shadow or society's expectations, but himself. Naked, trembling, and unarmed. Not the version of him dressed in titles, wearing success like a mask, or flexing discipline like a shield, but the raw, inner man, staring into the abyss of what is avoided, excused, postponed. It is in that space, where comfort vanishes and illusion evaporates, that the real man is either forged or forgotten. And the truth, most will fold, most will surrender to the siren call of self-pity, will cradle their wounds like trophies, will look outward for someone to blame instead of inward for someone to rise. But the rare ones, The dangerous ones, they don't bend. They break if they must, but they break forward because they have made a quiet vow to the heavens that no one else hears. I will carry it. I will bear the weight. I will not run. Responsibility, that ancient sacred word, is not something they flee from. It is something they bleed for. While the world tells men to express more and carry less, this man understands that there is no glory without burden, no strength without suffering, no real masculinity without the cross of responsibility digging into your shoulder blades day after day. He doesn't need applause for holding the line. He doesn't cry for help every time the storm comes. He becomes the storm, not out of arrogance, but because he understands what happens when he doesn't rise. His family suffers, his future collapses, his kingdom dies. This man doesn't chase status. He builds legacy. He doesn't flex power. He masters restraint. There's a warrior in him, but not the kind that fights for ego or dominance. He fights for order, for honor, for the generations he'll never meet. He knows that being a man isn't about being loud. It's about being immovable. He is the rock the flood cannot move. He is the wall the serpent cannot climb. He is the last line, and he knows it. So while others post, he prepares. While others scroll, he studies. While others crumble under pressure, he becomes pressure. His values aren't dictated by trend or opinion, but by principles rooted deep in the ancient soil of time-tested truth. He speaks less, not because he lacks thought, but because his words are weight, and weight is not thrown, it is placed. He does not fear the dark, because he has walked through it with his eyes open. He does not fear failure, because he has failed more than most have tried. And he does not fear death, because he has already buried the weaker man he used to be. The man who lives in him now has tasted sorrow without letting it rot his spirit. He has endured betrayal without letting it poison his trust. He has stood alone and learned that solitude is not a curse, but a forge. Because when no one's watching and the applause fades and the dopamine dries up and all that remains is you and your God and your mission, then you learn what kind of man you are. And this man, this relentless, quiet, grounded man, he doesn't flinch. He wakes up tired. He moves in silence. He works without a finish line, not because he enjoys pain, but because he understands that the absence of pain is the presence of decay. He would rather bleed for progress than rot in comfort. He would rather be hated for standing tall than loved for sitting down. He would rather walk alone in truth than march in a parade of lies. This is a man who says no when everyone else claps for yes, who doesn't justify himself to the weak, who doesn't dilute his strength to make others feel safe. He has chosen the hard path, not once, not twice, but daily, habitually, instinctively, because he has seen what happens when men abandon their post. He has seen what happens when fathers flee, when kings collapse, when men exchange their honor for approval. And it disgusts him. It ignites him. It reminds him he is not that man. He will never be that man. Instead, he will stand in the cold, in the fire, in the silence, not because he is fearless, but because he has chosen courage over comfort, time and time again. And that is the difference. Not talent, not luck, not charisma, just a decision made 1,000 times to carry the weight, to hold the line, to never bend. If you've come this far, it's not by accident. There's a voice in you, low but relentless, that refuses to die. You've tried to silence it. You've tried to bury it under distraction, excuses, women, dopamine, chaos, but it always returns. Not to haunt you, but to remind you that you were never meant to be soft. You were never meant to be aimless. You were never meant to live like a ghost, chasing shadows and calling it success. You were made to build, to protect, to lead, to stand, to stay. And the world, in all its confusion, noise, and glitter, has done everything in its power to make you forget this, to make you forget who you are, to convince you that masculinity is toxic, that conviction is arrogance, that order is oppression. But here's the truth. A man who remembers who he is will terrify the world, because he cannot be bought. He cannot be seduced. He cannot be swayed by flattery or threats. He walks with weight in his step. He speaks with scars in his voice. He leads with fire in his chest. Not because he's perfect, but because he's willing. Not because he's fearless, but because he fights anyway. Not because he knows all answers, but because he carries the questions like sacred stones on his back, day after day. And that kind of man is unstoppable. Because when he kneels, it's only to pray. When he weeps, it's only in secret. And when he falls, as all real men do, he rises again with a fury that makes demons tremble. You see, the world needs that man. Your family needs that man. Your future, the one God has written but waits for you to claim, needs that man. But most of all, you need that man. The one inside you. The one you keep putting off for tomorrow, for when things settle, for someday. But someday is not a day of the week. And later is the language of cowards. So here and now, you make the oath. Not a loud one. Not a viral one. Not one for the comments or the crowd. But a quiet, burning oath between you, your creator, and the part of you that refuses to die. An oath that goes like this. I will not flee. I will not fold. I will not be seduced by the easy way. I will carry the weight I was born for. I will become the man my bloodline has been waiting for. Even if no one sees. Even if no one claps. I will not live soft. I will not die ashamed. I am the last line. I am the answer to the prayer. I am the man who does not bend. Repeat it. Murmur it. Tattoo it on your mind. Make it your rhythm. Because when you rise each day with that vow in your chest, and you sleep with it wrapped around your soul like armor, you become something rare. A man with weight. A man with fire. A man with roots. And this world doesn't know what to do with men like that. But God does. So go. Stand. Lift. Protect. Sacrifice. Build. And when they ask why you don't quit, when they ask why you're different, why you won't bend, why you're still standing, look them in the eye and say, because I made an oath, and I keep what I vow. If this message awakens something in you, don't keep it. Share it with a man who's been drifting. Post it. Comment the line. I made an oath, and I keep what I vow. Let the world know that men like us still exist. And subscribe, because this is only the beginning.